The first time I posted this video was simply out of the amazement of a demonstration of the speed of an electrical current or spark inside of an enclosed translucent tube. But then later on that day, I came across a video of a guy calling a leopard a tiger. My immediate reaction to that was, "No, sir, that is a leopard, not a tiger." And I was about to comment my response when I noticed the comment section in that video posting was already full of comments saying that exact thing. I then decided my comment wasn't necessary due to the fact that everybody else had already noticed the flaw in this young man's labeling. But that is when I noticed a different comment out of the many. And that comment simply said, "It's amazing how many people still haven't figured out that he knows it's not a lion." It was then that I noticed that this comment had the most likes. So of course, with the statement being made and noticing how many likes he had, I continued on with reading more comments, and slowly, more commenters pointed out that the content poster deliberately called the leopard a lion, simply to get people to point out that the leopard indeed wasn't a lion. What? That he had in fact manipulated the algorithms towards his posting by stating false info. Now, although I've been quite aware of media's manipulation for quite some time now, I wasn't completely aware that content creators had started manipulating viewership algorithms on that level. With the exception of the occasional false video description, I had no idea that creators were now making false statements in their content for the purpose of viewer interactions. I also noticed that no matter how many times those specific commenters pointed out that the content creator was trolling for algorithms and likes, the other commenters still continued pointing out the fact that the leopard was not a lion with an almost angry vigor. So I decided to do a simple test of my own, just to see if it would be that simple, and to also see if it would actually work. I deleted the original posting of that video, which at the time I hadn't titled, and it had received only 2 views and no likes. I then reposted that video with a semi-misleading title that I called "Experiment Displaying the Speed of Light." Now here's the thing. I knew all along that it wasn't exactly light per se, but more of a form of enclosed electricity, and that the speed of electricity is conceptually the speed of electromagnetic signals in a wire, which is somewhat similar to the concept of the speed of light in a transparent medium. So, the speed of electricity is normally lower than the speed of light, but not too much lower when it's in a vacuum. The speed also depends on the cable construction. The cable geometry and the insulation both reduce the speed of electricity. Good cables achieve 80% of the speed of light. Excellent cables achieve 90% of the speed of light. The speed does not directly depend on the voltage or resistance. However, different frequencies have different attenuation. That being said, I reposted the video, and wow, will you look at that? I reposted the short yesterday, and the repost has already increased engagement with people pointing out that the original video experiment on the Jimmy Fallon show was not in fact displaying the speed of light, but the speed of electricity, and how light is not particles that are contained, giving examples like try containing light in a glass bottle and you'll see what I mean. All of which I agree, but I was still totally fascinated by my personal experiment being somewhat of a success. Since yesterday, the new posted video has received 530 views versus the 2 views it received without the title, and at least 4 comments that didn't engage in the first posting, plus 22 upvotes. This basically says to me that people are actually fascinated with either the opportunity to point out mistakes or the opportunity to correct mistakes that others have made. And that desire actually covers a wide field of algorithmic touch points because it allows for people to address the content intellectually, sarcastically, arrogantly, spitefully, disrespectfully, and an entire host of other ways, all contributing to the algorithm it's designed for. It also gives you an idea of how dangerously manipulative media outlets and propaganda spreading can actually be. This was a rather fascinating experiment, even with it being on a very small scale, because it still overall proved a point, which is media's manipulation with false narratives is a very real thing. It is at this point that I feel that I must also make it absolutely clear that I, although I participated in this small test, will not be making this form of algorithm driving a part of how I collect likes and views. Although I did leave a little gem in this posting, just to make sure my findings were in fact accurate. That's all. Besides, it's clearly noticeable if you're paying attention. Anywho, still, I did enjoy this little undertaking, and I hope you did too. Carry on.